What's up guys, I'm a fish and today I'm going to be continuing my Humanity Restart series. In the last video, um, North America started colonizing Europe. Carolina here tried to colonize North Africa here, but they didn't get very far. So fortunately, Africa is protected from the colonizers this time. But that doesn't mean it's going to be all roses and daisies over here. For the Sahelian, the Sahelian state here is going to be making another move. They've been dormant for a decently long time, and some of you may have noticed this random province that appeared here like a while ago, for no reason. It's a Sahara Desert, and it's pretty odd shape too. Well, the reason they made this province and sent some people to live out here is so they can invade through it. See, the camels are have difficulties going over water, so it's much easier for them to simply go on land. And then they're going to send the camels around and down, flood into this yellow country here through this province. And once they get to this major city, they can easily cross to the other side. Oh, tolerance. So this yellow country here is in quite a bit of danger, as they really don't stand much of a chance against the Sahelian country. It's decently strong, much stronger than really any of its neighbors. Besides, like Sudan or Nigeria would put up a fight here. But this yellow country, no, not at all. The capital just got captured. And not really anyone is going to step up to help because they also don't want to fight the Sahelians. They hope that if they stay dormant and even possibly support the Sahelians, they will be spared. And so, nothing is going to stop the camels from absolutely ravaging through this country. And eventually, they will have no choice but to surrender. And as you all might have expected, the Sahelians are going to completely annex this country. Meaning I have to go to capital cities and delete it, the capital city. And now the borders of the Sahelian country look horrible because of this country right here. Oh, but fear not. They're also getting invaded. And once again, they will be toppled very quickly because no one is going to help them. And they will be annexed in the peace treaty. And that is where we're going to end off this episode. Hope you all enjoyed. No, this is where we're going to take a break from Africa. Now we're going to be heading over to China, who also has been dormant for a while. See, they started their whole empire thing by conquering Green China and then Blue China. And now they're finally, after so many episodes of being on break, they're going to be invading into Red China here. And it's going to be going very well as I immediately take the capital city and pretty much all of the developed areas. But there's someone who really doesn't like China expanding all this much. And that is, well, there's like two options here. You guessed it, it's Korea. Korea is also a decently strong country. And because they don't want China getting so super strong, they are going to invade into Red China as well, taking pretty much everything that is left over. And when they meet with the Chinese occupied territory, they will push forward and attack Chinese forces, with no official declaration of war. China is going to look at this and go, whoa, dude, what was that? No official declaration of war? And they are going to be so mad that they are going to nearly entirely kick Korea out of Red China, and also take the rest of Red China. And also that one pixel there that apparently was never colored in. So Korea just got absolutely destroyed. They got pushed back to their border nearly immediately. They will manage to hold on to this small piece of land by this river. Uh, hold on. Sure. But for the most part, they are completely kicked out, and China is proving to be much stronger than Korea already. There'll be lots of back and forth fighting as China. Hold on, let me get a different color. China will at one point make a invasion into this area up here in Korea, but Korea will then make a counteroffensive into the Chinese occupied lands, forcing China to retreat entirely out of Korea to reinforce these occupied lands. And China will successfully capture a large encirclement over here. Korea will eventually be beaten all the way back to their border, and China will begin their invasion into Korea. Capital will, as the front lines completely collapse and the capital is nearly captured almost immediately. In Korea, they're going to start mobilizing all throughout their entire country to just be able to fight back against China here. It's going to go decently well until the Japanese make a landing over here. They make a landing from Sakhalin. I believe that's I haven't yeah, no, that's definitely what the island's called. I haven't said the name in a long time. I have not thought about that island like in I want to say actually years even. Anyways, um, so yeah, Japan. If you remember, Japan used to be in over here in like the southern part of Korea here, but Korea here, which is really originally just Manchuria, kicked them out of Korea. So really, this is Korea, and what I've been calling Korea is just Manchuria. Hmm. And Japan wants some of their old land back. So they're going to start one invasion over here in this Russian area, and another in this port city, of which used to belong to them. Many citizens will welcome the Japanese here with open arms, since the majority of these areas is still, well, the religion map doesn't say so, but a lot of these people do still recognize Japan as their original homeland, or at least the Japanese nation, not the Japanese islands. And it is at this point where Manchuria completely collapses, with the Chinese army taking an incredibly large portion of the country, reaching to this major city here at this river. You know what? Let's just actually no. I just wanted what was yeah. You get the idea of like that river. And Japan will get the majority of the Korean peninsula here. They will meet up with the Chinese, and they will in fact not kill each other. And this is what the occupied territory is going to look like when they agree to when all three sides agree to draw up a peace treaty together. So this is what Manchuria is going to look like now. China annexed the entirety of Red China, and pretty much all the important areas of Manchuria. And Japan has annexed the majority of the Korean peninsula and a bit of land up here in Russia. The new capital of Manchuria is going to be this city right here by this lake. Next, we're going to be seeing this large nation in Tibet changing shades ever so slightly just to make sure it's well separated from this country right here. This, just zooming in on this area, really shows just how many cities are in India compared to Tibet here. Which it makes sense. It's Tibet. It's like no space to live up there, but I mean, still, I feel like there's like way too many cities down here. Anyway, now we're going to be taking a look down here in Tanzania. because this country is kind of divided because the government of Tanzania here wants to embrace South India's influence, who hope that they are not invaded in the future. Because even though South India hasn't gone after Africa in a while, it's still a possibility. And they do share a border with South India's colony in Somalia. So they are embracing the influence and the religion and trying to spread it throughout the country. However, the people of Tanzania are very much against this uh, biasness of their government and want to change that. We are going to be seeing the majority of the country here splitting away in order to pretty much just form a new government that is not embracing South India's influence here. And the Tanzanian government is going to be not so happy about this. It's going to start pretty one-sided as the Tanzanian government takes back a lot of the northern region as well as many of the cities near the border. Um, and the rebel state is really not going to have much of the resources in order to fight back at all for the most part. Um, because the government of Tanzania here kind of controls a lot of the resources up in the north. And also this is just a bunch of militias. They don't really they're not trained soldiers or anything. But these trained soldiers, with a little help from someone, is going to be able to perform an incredible encirclement, as well as recapturing this major city right here. They'll slowly begin to chip away at the encirclement, but after not very long, Tanzania will be able to reconnect with the encirclement, with the encircled territory, and pretty much abandon it back to the rebel state. We're going to be seeing some major losses from Tanzania in the south here as a bunch of lands are returned to the rebel states. And this major city right here is going to be the setting of a incredibly large battle. One of the largest battles of Africa's history, not including Ethiopia and stuff up here where there's been a lot of conflict. And this war is going to end in a Tanzanian victory, unfortunately. And it's going to be, at this point, the war is going to be very back and forth as the sides just keep pushing into the same territory over and over again. Tanzania will be able to get a foothold near this lake here and use it as a good defensive boundary. But at the same time, the rebel states are going to attempt a counter invasion and will successfully capture the capital city. It is at this point where Tanzania's uh, front line will begin to collapse as many cities within the nation begin to switch sides and join with the rebel states. And they will lose the majority of their occupied territory. Then Tanzania is going to, completely out of nowhere, just start completely dominating over the rebel states. And the occupied territory is going to, after just a week difference, is going to look like this once again. And it's not going to get any better, as the Tanzanians, clearly with some outside help, going to cut the rebel state in half and begin to eat away at both sides, now completely separated from one another and unsure of what to do next. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, go. So I think it's pretty clear to most people, probably, that Tanzania here is getting supported by none other than South India itself. The largest, I think, probably largest country in the Eastern Hemisphere. I mean, let's see, they own northern us. They got a good chunk of Australia. They own all of Indonesia, and they have, I mean, the southern tip of India, all of Somalia, a bunch of Southeast Asia. I'd say they're the largest in the Eastern Hemisphere. Anyways, well, while they're being supported by the largest country and economically most powerful nation in, I was going to say the Eastern Hemisphere, but South India probably gives a lot of Western Hemisphere countries a run for their money with just how economically powerful this country is. It's a colonial trading empire. So many resources under one color here. All these resources are getting shipped out to all over the world. So anyway, yeah, Tanzania is getting supplied and supported by them. Who's supplying the rebels? The rebel state is getting shown support by a lot of South Africa, actually. Not just South Africa, like this Uganda right here, showing lots of support for the rebel states. I want to say Burundi. It's either Burundi or Rwanda. I don't know which one is where the capital city is. Either way, they are showing their support. This country here, all of their neighbors, basically. But not all of them are giving outright like supplies to the rebel state. The ones that are as follows. Because there is actually a number. One, we have this blue state right here to the south. They're a very small state, and if Tanzania gets annexed, they're definitely next. So they're giving their best efforts to prevent the number one from happening. Because if number one doesn't happen, number two doesn't happen. Next, South Africa. South Africa here, now that the Western Hemisphere they know that there is another continent out there somewhere. And if they know they think they know like the general location of the Americas. Obviously, you don't know like what the Americas look like. But if the Americas are in that general area they think it is, which it is, South Africa becomes a prime like colonial target, being right in the middle of the largest colonial empire and the new colonial empires. So South Africa just wants to make sure that the nations around them remain strong and independent and uninfluenced by South India and the other colonizers. And just the fact that South Africa is supplying them has convinced a lot of these smaller states here to supply as well, simply because they don't want South Africa to get angry at them. And finally, it's going to be Uganda itself. All these nations are supplying the rebel states, and you may notice that one of these doesn't have any access. Uganda is behind enemy lines and has no coastline. They have no way of reaching a rebel state. So how have they been supplying it? The answer to that question is by supplying a secret invasion into the north. They've been planting soldiers into the Tanzanian military, who've now gathered in the north and are now behind enemy lines attacking. This albeit probably incredibly unrealistic, but I'm going to roll with it anyways. It just causes the front lines to completely collapse once again. Except the rebel state doesn't quite connect with the other occupied territory. Tanzania takes back all of their forces incredibly quickly and retakes the majority of the land. And now they are seeing Uganda as directly involved, as some of the soldiers that were in the Tanzanian territory were shown to have Ugandan armor, Ugandan swords, Ugandan everything. Not any of it shows that they are just supplies to the rebel state. All evidence points to this being the actual Ugandan army. Tanzania is going to begin an invasion into Uganda now that they know that they are, that they invaded them. They are going to continue to push in the rebel state, and the only reason you may be wondering how they're able to hold up both wars now is because, again, they're getting supplied by the strongest country in the Eastern Hemisphere. The rebel state now is going to be able to hold off a little better now that the Tanzanian forces are split between two front lines, but it's still not going to go super well. This lake up here is going to be completely captured, and the capital city is going to be threatened. This is where we're going to leave off this event for now, and we will continue it in a future episode. Now we're going to be taking a look up here in what was formerly Persia. Now Persia's just this purple one. The Persian Empire collapsed a little bit ago, and in its collapse left behind 4 states: Persia, Caucasia, Kuwait, and the plutocracy. The plutocracy here is full of a bunch of the richer population of the Persian Empire. It's where the empire began, right here, after all. This is where the Lime team originated from, at these 2 rivers, Tigris and Euphrates. The most developed area in the region, a lot of the surrounding regions too, one of the most developed regions in the world, well, excluding the Western Hemisphere. And they, now that they control their own country, they kind of want to be powerful again. They liked being powerful, and so they're going to turn to 2 of their neighbors, Persia and Kuwait. No, I'm just kidding. They're going to be invading both this weird yellow-green country and I guess Kurdistan. No, Kurdistan's more this area. I guess this is Kurdistan. I don't really know what to call this. I think at one point in real life history, this was Armenia, or at least had a bunch of Armenians. So I guess I'll just call it Armenia. Anyway, the plutocracy here is going to begin to invade both countries simultaneously. As while both of these countries have existed for a lot longer, neither of them are particularly strong. In fact, the plutocracy, both in population, economy, and military strength, triples probably their strength. Actually, in terms of population, might be quite a bit higher than triple. I'm going to be honest. There's a lot more cities over here than over here. But anyway, back to the war. So both of these countries are going to get jumped. And this country right here is one of the oldest countries in the world. Its borders have remained unchanged for a very long time. But now, unfortunately, it's going to get invaded from 2 sides. As this weird, ugly Turkish state that, for some reason, is up here and down here, they're going to decide they want in as well. As the entirety of Anatolia has been incredibly dormant ever since the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, besides the Ukrainian invasion of Istanbul. So they're going to not annex, but occupy most of the country, at least in terms of population, as there's 4 cities here and 3 over here. Um, However, they are not going to invade into this Armenian country, as it will be fully occupied by the plutocracy. And now we are going to go to a peace treaty. The plutocracy here is going to completely annex Armenia and Kurdistan, which is going to conflict with what Turkey here requests in the peace treaty, with just these 2 territories is all they want. The plutocracy, pretty much everyone in this country is just incredibly greedy, so they're going to try to fully annex both. And when their right to annex all of this land is denied by one of the many Turkeys here, they're going to get angry. But that's not going to lead to anything, at least not in this episode. Because this is the end of this episode, because I don't want to record any longer, because I have other stuff I want to do. So I'm going to leave it off here. I'll edit this later, and then I'll send it out to the public on Friday. I will see you all later. Hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.